podcast, the Down to Earth Network, with your host Sean Myrie, and I'm live in my studio right now with a great guest, from Canada too. Also, his name is What's the Dirt? That's his, alias, and he has a real name, Matt. And he been putting in work in the content universe for, I think, I'm guessing over like a year or two, and been bringing the content like really, giving you visuals, not just the commentary. And he got big. I'm guessing when the Kendrick and the whole Drake fiasco exploded, people really got into you. You want to tell the people a little bit about yourself? Like when your algorithm you seen change, what was the content you were covering?
Overall, I was just kind of throwing shit at the wall, right? And like I was doing like no jump, like covering stuff that no jumper people were doing, the Joe Budden podcast, like just random like news stories. I didn't really know what I was doing or what direction I was going to go in. But then I did one video on Joe Budden versus Vlad TV. And I was kind of showing how Vlad really tried to he kind of tried to destroy Joe Budden's career more or less, right? And that video did really well. And not only did it do really well, it got mentioned on the Joe Budden podcast, which was crazy to me. He was like, "Yeah, that guy did a really good job." And then a lot of people were coming to my channel. Just he's probably the biggest in the game if we're being real. And that in itself did a lot for the channel. It also made me realize, oh fuck, like these guys that I've looked up to and stuff, and like they're not that far away. Like they're actually they can be reached. They're watching what people are doing. So it really motivated me to hear him say that he liked my work. So yeah,
Did they know you were from Canada or anything, like, or they thought you were from like America that time?
Canada, but I never really mentioned it in that video, so they probably didn't know where I was from. When it never really became a problem for me being from Canada until the Kendrick and Drake beef. And as at that point, it's at that point where like because in the beginning, bro, I would get a lot of like, oh, this is a white dude, like culture vulture white dude, right? And then after the beef, it turned from like culture vulture white dude to like this guy's Canadian. Like Canadian became the new insult, basically. And that's just how that's what the beef did. That's just what the beef did. Actively. Yeah.
From like hip hop, right?
Weird Drake, Kendrick niche. And even when I try to step outside of it, like, because you got to understand, I do this for a living. So I do need to make money. And if I do Meek Mill, like I did that Meek Mill verse and he even retweeted it. Meek Mill shared it and said, "This guy killed this. This guy's breakdown gave me flashbacks," which was like a huge cosign for me. I mean, you can't get a bigger cosign than that than the guy who wrote the record saying, you broke down my bars perfect. But unfortunately, that didn't pay me really, right? It only got like 20, just over 20K or 30K or something, and like that's still pretty good, but it obviously the audience that I built is not interested in that type of content.
right? In doing covering Drake, and a guy who's doing the same thing might not get it because how he maybe it's not popular what he's saying. You get what I'm saying? So, or if I'm covering Drake, it could get me the algorithm to maybe get to maybe break viral or something like that. Because I'm seeing that with the guys who the streamers he took. I was gonna get into that later. The streamers who he's smart, Drake's smart. The streamers he took. But me, I'm realistic from the beginning, right? Of Drake. When I cover Drake is from before he became popular, right? There's a big backlog of people who jumped on Drake's bandwagon who are claiming like they were supporting Drake, but they only jumped on when he became big. That's the problem I have. But people don't see those people. You get what I mean? So but Drake does see those people, right? So that's why he moves a certain way. And this is what I'm getting to. I don't know because you're Canadian and I'm Canadian. I'm getting down to earth. Drake has blessed a lot of content makers in America versus Canadians. You can't count 5 Canadians who are content makers who could say besides the Q, what's his name? The Q guy or something in Quebec, QGC, QDC.
Is he Canadian? He is, right? Yeah. That's probably the only guy.
I'm just saying, as content makers who cover, have you got a shout out from Drake? Because he's popular for that, the shout outs.
Like I actually was told, like Friday Ricky Dredd actually told me that, like, because when I was doing these breakdowns for the beef, I wasn't doing it all in the favor of Drake. I would break down Drake's record and show his perspective, but then I'd move on and do Kendrick's, and then I'd break it down in his perspective. And apparently Drake didn't like the way that I was breaking that stuff down. So, but basically he was like, I don't fuck with that guy type of thing, right? And I'm not surprised because I think what Drake wants is undeniable loyalty. Like he wants a guy like Aiden Ross who you'll see on stream if someone plays Kendrick's music, he says, "Turn that shit off. Turn that shit off." And like to me, that's not realistic. That's not realistic. So, so like if you're not willing to 100% be on Drake's side, I think your chances of him shouting you out or him working with you or it
Man,
is very minimal. Like I like when you talk about the guys that he took to this wireless festival, right? Like they're all people who are like that, right? Like they're not gonna say one negative thing about Drake. They're gonna bash Kendrick. Drake is amazing. Kendrick, fuck him. And that is basically who he wants to surround himself with. It's not real. It's not real. It's not reality. And
yeah, the spot here, but I don't know if it's putting you on the spot, but like him taking all these guys, like I've been seeing this pattern, right? Nothing's wrong with that, but I've been asking the question a long time. Like he loves the city. Drake comes to the city. He done the Iceman preview down here. He's always in the city, right? People love him in the city as much as they said stuff about him on the Kendrick show. These people, they love Drake. Even the ones who hate Drake love Drake, right? So I'm thinking, okay, QDC, whatever his name is, that streamer guys. I don't remember his name fully, but he's not hip hop. So why haven't Drake linked with anybody who's the hip hop in the content space in Toronto? That's a question I could ask.
Kind of fucking sad, really, because I mean, there's guys like yourself, like Friday, like there's a bunch of people out there with platforms that he could be going on. And it's almost like, is it like when you really look at it though, what hip hop platforms is Drake doing in general? Not even just Toronto. You'll see him sit down with Bobby Altov. That's not hip hop. You'll see him with that dude with the long blonde hair where it was all satire. Like I don't know what his name is, but that wasn't hip hop. The last time I think he did anything hip hop was really in when he did that interview. I think it was LeBron and shit when they're at like a barber shop type of setting. But he's not doing any hip hop type interviews, and it's almost like Drake doesn't want to do hip hop interviews. He's not just not supporting Toronto hip hop. He's not supporting any hip hop. When you think about it, he's sitting down with Aiden. He's sitting down with XQC. He's gonna go link with Kai. Not saying Kai's not hip hop, but
We said it, but he ain't gonna catch us on this program right now. He could say, "Yeah, I support hip hop." He took top five with him.
Five is not really doing hip hop. Like how you're a rapper that's not rapping. Like you're a podcaster or a streamer or whatever, but you're not a rapper. You're not hip hop. Like to me, that's not hip hop. Like what top five does, I don't consider that to be hip hop. That's weird gang internet culture, right?
I agree with the hip hop, but that's the closest what Drake brought from Toronto to to the wireless festival and Smiley. So I'm just saying the whole theme of it was this jet to bring all these content makers, and not one of them is from Toronto.
I think like even when he linked with Morgan Wallen, right? Morgan Wallen, he looks at Morgan Wallen and he sees eyes, right? Eyes, numbers, metrics, analytics, eyes. Like, okay, I'm gonna pop out with Morgan Wallen at his show. There's gonna be a lot of eyes. Nelk, they're gonna come. I'm gonna fly them out to do the stream. I'm gonna fly Los Palos. I'm gonna fly Aiden. All these big streamers, eyes, 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 like that. He's just looking at numbers. Clearly, he's just looking at numbers. He don't give a fuck. Like he just wants as much traffic and as much virality as possible. He wants to be the talk of the internet. And you know how much hate I get? How much hate I get for giving Drake a fair chance? Like the fact that I'll go on there and say, "Look, Drake said T-Pain was kind of jealous of him. I'll look into it." You know what? Drake was right. I said he's actually right when I look into it. Most people are jumping in there saying Drake is soft, he's emotional. Like, like I try to give the man a very, very fair chance, but like I said, bro, I don't think he wants anyone who's gonna.
To us, he does without you knowing. That shows you that if you're doing what you're doing, and I see you've been getting a lot of traction everywhere when it comes to content. About, I'll be straight about this whole Drake and Kendrick and shit, how you break it down. It's out there. So he does hear stuff even from what's his name, what you just mentioned. Hears from him. He could be hearing from me, and I don't even know anybody, because I one thing I learned about Drake: never think just be he does is it's not the obvious. He's looking he never think he's just looking at the one who's so big, because that's how he picks artists. You notice the artist who he kind of spotlighted, it wasn't what's her name, Linus Kerr from Toronto. No one, they're shocked he would go to spotlight her. And then when that Drake competition happened, it was the girl who won the Drake competition. He always does you see what I mean? The opposite. So when you're the person who think you're big, because I don't know where Drake comes from, maybe he got bullied or back in the days, like when he was younger, right? So he kind of could relate to the underdog, if you want to say. So when he sees the person who's too big, he's not gonna jump on your bandwagon because I mean, he's gonna try to jump on somebody who's not as big.
I think that like the only real way to like based on the people I've seen him work with and select as of late, he wants people that are just like 100% glazing him, right? Like that keep six solid guy, right? Like he flew him out there. Now look at now. I got nothing against the guy at all. I follow his stuff and I listen and watch it. But like he is, there's no doubt what side he's on, what perspective he's on. He is tweeting 100% positive about Drake, 100% negative about Kendrick or anyone who's an enemy of Drake. So I'm not willing to do that for a collab with Drake or a shout out from Drake. Like it's just not real to me. I'm not willing to do all that. It's just not real.
Content makers, I want to ask your opinion. Out of this whole situation, who's the biggest media villain for Drake? What you've noticed, like the biggest ones? I have two of them.
Like the biggest impact for him, there's bro, there's a lot. There's a lot.
Marvel Universe, man. This whole time, I witnessed it too. About like it was kind of funny. Like they love Drake in America as much as we're talking like it's against. They were all most of the people I seen talking about this whole thing was Drake. Yeah, there was the K bots, but no, 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 nothing compared to the Drake.
Popular for sure, but then like there's the people, there's the usual suspects when it comes to that, right? Like you got a whole culture united panel that gets together once a month or whatever it is, and like all those guys have to pretty much it's just a panel of people with all the same perspective and ideas. It's like it's the definition of an echo chamber, really, because they had Friday on there a couple times to beat him down. Like, like just like see, we're not biased. It's like you bring this guy, send the Canadian lamb to get slaughtered, bro. like, like you're you're the only one with this. It's like it's tough when you're the only one saying this one thing and everyone else is disagreeing with you, and you're like, it's tough when you got no backup.
Culture, social media wars. So if I was to ask you growing up, what made you fall in love with the hip hop? Like people want to know how this white kid from Nova Scotia or Newfoundland
Yeah.
Newfoundland really got interested in like hip hop because how you talk, you say you like the real hip hop, you don't like you were giving me the description, the difference from like when we're saying top fives music and hip hop.
That I have was is Dark and Hell is Hot by DMX. And that was back in 98 or 99. That was my sister who had that. I was born in 88, so when that album came out, I was 10 years old. That was like vividly the first album I remember really, really listening to. And then as she was older than me, she was putting me on to Pac and Dre and M came in. And then really I just got totally infatuated, Exhibit, like people like this, right? We had people like Luda. And then I just got completely engulfed in it. And then I found it so much more interesting than any other genre. Like it just spoke to me the way that it spoke to me. Other genres didn't do that. Other genres didn't do that. And then, before I knew it, I was buying all the magazines and buying every CD possible. And then the mixtape era, when that kicked in, it was just in. I was a teenager at that point, so it was like in full gear. Like every day, you log into your computer and there's always a new mixtape and printing CDs, and it was to me that was my favorite part of hip hop for me, was that era. I'm 36 now, right? And then like when it comes to the YouTube shit, I'd watch people for years and years and years. I talked about starting this channel because I would see people and I'd be like, oh, like, man, that guy's living the life. Like he's talking about hip hop. Like I would love to be able to do that. I would love to try that. But it took me a long time before I really pulled the pin. I wish I started a lot earlier. I started the channel at 34 years old or 30. Yeah, like I started pretty late, but I talked about doing it for a long time. Long time. Yeah.
Takes time because you're right. Think of it. You imagine if you started at 25 right now, right? Like you have to count that time when you were that age. Even me, if I started at in my 20s and the technology was there, the YouTube was already there. It just came 3 years. You get what I mean? It just came in the 2000s, right? You'd be on a different algorithm. Very.
Back then I didn't have the focus I have now. Like I was partying, I was doing everything under the sun. I wasn't dialed like the way I am now. I was a kid. Like I was and acting like a kid, right? So I probably wouldn't have been.
Send them now. These guys are blowing up because they figured it out. The culture of the 20-year-olds is their club is being on Twitch. Their club is being on Kick. So when they're talking to their friends, you might talk on the phone. They're on the Twitch. Everything they do, everything they do, they're sitting, they're playing video games, they're eating, and that's why you see Kai Sennett and Aiden Ross getting huge because look, they're in their bedroom. Yeah, that's the future. Is all content makers. I'm telling you now, even us. That whole streaming thing. What do you think about this whole streaming thing? Like what's going on right now?
Right now doing my own. I held off for a long time, but I do see. I think you're right. That is 100% the future, right?
The whole streaming thing, because on our pod we have educate. That's what we call it, edutainment. We have educational stuff where me and my brother, the other guys, we talk about certain things. And like for example, this right in regards to what we do, content, music, the industry. As an artist, especially an artist, I said the reason artists are suffering, a major reason a lot of artists are suffering, and some are getting it now. They don't know how to work social media. So if you have music videos, where do you put them on? YouTube, right? So your YouTube, you should be working it like how we work it, like your real channel. How much people who are music artists, you see them have, oh, I'm in the studio. Now they're starting because of quick kick on Twitch, but I'm in the studio chilling, even if you're burning whatever, or you're writing down music. It's coming back. If you want to be relevant, just, oh, I have a new single out is not enough unless you have somebody like you reviewing it or me. It's not enough unless you have an outer someone recognizing, oh, this artist. Like right now, I could tell you, just say an underground artist. He's kind of bubbling, but he's not really commercially big. But you shout him out or you do a review on his video because your analytics, your algorithm, it's gonna help that kid get a big push, maybe even a deal. Because you already hit that. Because you have that spotlight. You have that spotlight. So a guy who's already doing something, he's already doing it. Like he already has, you know, people interested. But if the right person, that's why they don't have BT anymore. You don't see that's what was breaking artists. Music, a music, let's say channel focused on the artist and their art, not just all this drama we hear, because now it's just drama.
It wasn't like that growing up. You had no idea what these artists were really doing. You didn't know how they lived their lives. You didn't really know anything. But I think you're right. I think people need to fall in love with the personality that's behind that's behind the music, because the music in this day and era, 2025, unfortunately, is not enough. Right? Funny, I remember like doing all these deals like in the cannabis space and shit. He was making a lot of money, like the raw papers and the whiz filters and the trays, and then he had the Khalifa Kush. Like Dell has all that. Yeah,
But
I'm a fan of Wiz, man.
me too, me too. Guarantee. And you know what? When people think of Wiz, I don't know, like when we say we're a fan of Wiz, they're probably looking at him because he's relevant. Oh, these older guys know Wiz? Guess what? I knew Wiz from the airplane from the beginning. Kush and Oranges before that, the mixtape on MySpace. MySpace days. He actually looked at my message. I remember back in the day. He's down to earth, and even his manager, his friend, I forgot what his name is, but he's the guy who the white guy. I forgot his name. He's the guy who hooked him up on Roth, I think Roth. I forgot the name of the record label, but he got a good deal in the beginning of his career, right? I think a Rostrum Records or something like that. But Wiz is the definition of how artists supposed to evolve because he's still relevant, still dropping music, has an industry in his name.
And he does it all without any drama. He has zero drama. Wiz Khalifa has zero drama to his name. The only time he had drama was when Amber Rose and like the Kanye thing. But other than that, bro, he's been drama free his whole career. And Wiz got some massive fucking records too. Let's not like the Fast and Furious record or whatever. That was huge. That Paul Walker tribute, like that's he got massive, massive records. Like when I seen Wiz Khalifa in concert, that's when you really realize how big he is, because people don't realize how many hits he got. And if everyone's singing and he's going for like a full hour, and like he can go for a while. He can go for a while. I love Wiz, bro. He's the biggest. Like Snoop is like, I don't think there's ever been a rapper with as many commercials, and like one minute he's working with Martha Stewart, and then the next minute he's like promoting some vacuum or something like. Yeah, no, it's Snoop. Snoop has made a lot of money. Like
What we do, like streaming. You remember he had his own
there's Happy Dad. He's
Happy
got
Dad's
the
Death Row.
he's got the Death Row grape, right? Like this is like the grape seltzers, right?
You know what was funny? This whole time with this Drake and this Kendrick thing, it created another I'd say monster that you have to kind of like some people got educated, but some people got educated or some people remain ignorant. But the stuff what a lot of people, not all the people, but in America was saying about like Drake or Canada, They didn't have no knowledge of it. A lot of it was like, oh, you guys are paranoid and you're listening to any type of media without doing proper research. Because um in Canada, the stuff what they're saying, I'm saying, no, that it's not like that. Like, don't believe everybody is liking Drake in Toronto. Like, for example, they thought why so much people uh uh cheering for Kendrick. I've said I'm not surprised because there's a lot of fans even before this whole Drake thing of Kendrick, right? And oh shit, damn, you just clocked out. Just clocked out, man. What's the dirt? Knocked out. But yeah, we are just talking about Drake a while ago. Let's see if he taps back in. Maybe his power went, man. Maybe his power went. But bless up, people. Please subscribe to the platform, to the network with your host Sean Myrie. Don't know what happened to his thing. But yeah, we're just talking about, content makers, the content space, what's going on out there in the universe. We're talking about Drake, of course, the Kendrick Lamar beef, a whole bunch of things, right? So yeah, what's the dirt? I wanted to get more deep, down to earth, but you knocked out, man. Must have been the power. Let's see if he might come back. Let's see if he comes back. Might have pressed something. But yeah, you gotta check out the interview, what I just had with What's the Dirt, right? Still seeing if he could tap back in. Probably phone dead. But yeah, it was a great, great interview. Wish I could have, give him the outro. But just still, let me see something. Let me see something. Let me see something. See? That's how they do it, yo. See? Damn. The algorithm. You hear me?
Not sure what happened.
No,
It
you
just
know
kind of
what? You know what? It's just the algorithm. This is YouTube. YouTube's making updates. I know this whole, like, trust me. Matt, I've witnessed so much stuff since doing this content stuff. I'm going to make like a book of this stuff. Like just with like Instagram and the YouTube shit, think people think it's all automated, that it's all a computer. No, there's real people watching, doing shit for real. Not all the time, but they do their checkups. Trust me, right?
like there's definitely people behind the scenes. Like there has to be, bro. There has to be.
Seen it. I've said, wait a minute. You could tell, for example, I done a story, right? Because I do a lot of controversial stories on the Beast, Mr. Beast. And I know the way how to, like, when you're doing your uploads after you edit, and how certain algorithms might catch maybe a certain way, right? Just because it's Mr. Beast and he's so big that they suppress the hell out of it.
Bro, that's their golden child, man. Like he's the biggest. He makes YouTube a lot of money. That's the whole point of this is to make money, right?
Out of that one. And that's a story that should not be like that. That story should.
Happens where I'm like, the content's good, it should have more numbers, it's worth more, but it don't hit the way it should.
Like, for example, now media or content kind of interfering with like a lot of legal cases. You seen like the Puff Daddy, you seen there's a Bible of stories, and now even Drake, this whole thing with you know what I mean? How big is now like content or like this social media for like legal stuff now?
Like 1090 Jake, who's made a whole career off of exposing people's paperwork and stuff like that, and like It's definitely a different niche culture where more and more YouTubers are diving into lawsuits and covering on the channel, especially the Diddy shit. The Diddy shit made a lot of people a lot of money. Me, I'm not overly interested in it, and like the reason why I don't cover it is because I'm not a lawyer, so I don't feel the need. I don't feel like it's like me breaking down legal jargon is not really maybe the wrong messenger, right? Like I was gonna do a piece on the UMG lawsuit, and I had a lawyer lined up to do a collab with me because I want them to explain certain things. I got a lot of questions about that lawsuit. Like, well, Kendrick had to be in the court. Is it possible that Kendrick will need to testify? Is it possible that like what Drake said about Kendrick it could come up in the court? Like I got a lot of like questions like that that I don't know. Yeah. But as far as like I think you're right. Like I think like that sort of content's growing legs. Like you see people like Trap Lil Ross, he has paperwork and his stuff. Like there's like hip hop music, and then there's hip hop drama, and then there's gang hip hop, like gang type of stuff. And I think the gang type of stuff seems to perform the best. I think
Do something, a little thing, because you're a content maker yourself. And this is just so I don't look crazy, because sometimes when you're saying it yourself and there's not someone who does the research and you do the research, you will say, oh shit, that's what he was saying. And people are going to come back to this. I've been studying that this whole Diddy shit for a while. I was a big Tupac fan growing up, right? So that whole thing with the death and the investigators and all that, I've been through that. I even have books on that shit. Put it this way, what we're seeing now with Diddy, I'm not surprised. It just had to come out. But this is all connected. I'm gonna put, and if you want to ask me any questions, I'll tell you. The real big meat of the story is the Tupac and the Biggie shit. They want to get him for those M's. He done both of those M's. The guy before this whole thing broke with P Diddy, Keefe D, was talking on Vlad a couple times. So from he that guy started his series with Vlad. Started talking, yeah, and what he's done, he's talked about how he was had a relationship with Diddy, and now when since he done that, that opened up the whole thing. His relationship with Suge. In that whole Vlad thing, he explained his relationships with Suge. So there's all these back guys in the background having their beef, right? And after Tupac died, I'm just putting it out. You had to make another guy disappear because Diddy would have already been investigated 20 something years ago, right? Your guy's still alive and Tupac is gone. No, you're gonna you get what I mean? And there's so much guys who's linked to Puffy. And you see that Gene guy who's talking, the big bodyguard guy? Okay, Gene Deal talks a lot. He does say a lot of stories, but Puffy, I'm gonna give you this. There's this guy named Wolf who was Puffy's good friend, and he was his bodyguard from the '90s, early '90s. This guy gave the story is because I seen a content maker talk about it and I knew about it. He gave Puffy some money to invest in Bad Boy, right? His friend from Harlem, this big guy, right? So Puffy used that money. Started to get big in Bad Boy, and this guy was with Puffy when that shooting with Shine happened because he was his bodyguard, right? This is the time when Puffy was getting more balls against Suge because after that shooting happened with Suge, Suge was never the same. He went to jail. So really, you have to remember when Suge went to jail, Puffy was going to get bigger. 97, 98, 99, the 2000s. So he was getting peaked. Meanwhile, his enemy or whoever, the guy, because you got to look on it. When you look on Suge, didn't Suge get the rap as the guy who probably killed Tupac? Correct me if I'm wrong. The guy who was the bad guy.
even on the 7 Day Theory, like the Machiavelli album, right? On the track Bomb First, if like I remember as a kid being like, if you turn it up really loud in the beginning, you could hear it says Suge shot me. And like and you remember that? Like all those conspiracies and shit. But so as a kid, I thought Suge Knight killed Tupac.
now as you get older, and you see it. You see what's with Puffy's whole case, what he was doing. That's gangster business, like it or not. He had
A fucking gangster.
He's the real gangster. So when you look, not say Suge is a pushover, but Suge wasn't really compared to him. So I'm breaking down. He's gonna get out. I was telling people thought, oh no, Puffy's gonna be serving all this time and blah blah blah. But they didn't look at the case, like you say, you're not a lawyer, but I looked on certain things and didn't have the evidence to put this guy in jail.
That case got so big that my mom has talked to me about Diddy, and she don't follow any of it. She's a 60-year-old white woman from Newfoundland, like, but she's hearing about it and talking to. And I told her, I said, "Mom, I think he's gonna walk. To be honest with you, I can't see him now. He's not walking, but the main big charge, I couldn't see it, bro. Like I couldn't see it.
Comes out, people are looking at the big picture. All the people who never supported him, all the friends and all that stuff. Most likely, a man like that would be silent. Like, oh, all you people who is supposed to support whatever support me, I'm. So he will value those people. I swear, G Dep showed up to that court. I seen a picture of. He looked like he's more happy than ever. You know, Puffy he hit him off finally with some money right now.
Like, yeah, okay. I look at him as like a freaky dude or whatever. Like he's got his own sexual whatever going on, but I just don't see the trafficking or I don't see it. The evidence wasn't there for me.
They had to put an organization with him. They didn't want to bring nobody in because he didn't want to include anybody. That's what affect the case. Cassie, they brought her what she was talking, which incriminated, like could have incriminated her, but she didn't care. She said that she she's threatening somebody. She was threatening somebody, saying on recording, so that made it look like she's part of this whole operation too. But because they feel sorry, it's only because she's a woman. I'm sorry, because she's a woman, they soften the any type of punishment. Because if it was a man who lied like her, they would have said you lied under oath. She said certain things in the court like she was so innocent, but then there's a recording of her saying, I'll do all this stuff to this person if you don't do whatever. So you know it's coming back to haunt her now, right? She thought she got off with $30 million in the sun. One of the escorts is suing her for a whole bunch of shit, and he has the right to, because the evidence.
Really transmit disease or something, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what he's saying. What happened with Cassie? So he's blaming her. He has a case because she has a.
Ago, he was like, they were interrogating this guy years ago, and he's just like, remember that guy? They inter
Puffy.
Yeah, no, he was saying Rick Ross, DJ Khaled, Puffy, they are gay. And they're like, people just like, they're gay. He's like, yes. He's like, and he's like telling them all about it, bro. And people at the time were like, this guy's fucking crazy, right? This guy's nuts. And it turns out that guy was right. uh,
It would have exposed too much celebrities because the first they were talking about this list, and now look, now I'm telling you what's there. You're not gonna hear about no more list anymore. And then they said NDAs. Now I was saying this in an early pot, like a couple months ago. If this guy's guilty of all this, why do you care? Why do you honor Puffy's NDAs now? Now you're gonna honor it because you're trying to protect these rich, famous people. If he had them on a list and they're a part of this whole thing, they're part of the trafficking stuff. They're the customers. To traffic, you have to give customers. Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't there customers for traffic? You're doing trafficking. So
trafficking. I think it was just a dude who was with his girl and they'd fucking get a couple prostitutes here and there, and that's pretty much it. That's all it was. There was no they tried to see the thing is they tried to get him under RICO, and the RICO, I think they created was it Giuliani created that to get the mob, right? They're trying to they're trying to apply it now to everything, and it's just like
why they try to get what's his name, Young Thug, YSL, with that. To they have to prove it's an organization. They proved to him a little bit more. He's on probation. He's on a very strict probation for 15 or 12 to 15 years. He can't do certain shit. Yeah,
With that. But again, it's very hard to prove. Like, well, it was like back in the day, John Gotti or any of these guys. Like, it's hard to get them talking about shit, right? They know that they're in charge, but you can't compare. That's what the RICO is for. Now you're doing trying to apply that to Diddy because he's fucking prostitutes with his girl or whatever.
and he screwed with the wrong people in business. And now this is digging up stuff when people are talking like Keefe D. I said it earlier. Before all this stuff, what we're talking about with Puffy, there's a guy who was talking about Puffy, and it was that guy on Vlad. Vlad's show amplified interest in Puffy because that guy was talking. He was talking how Puffy would pay him to be the bodyguard when they come to LA, and that's why people are slowly bringing up suspicion of Puffy, and this overshadowed it. When this came, that video, that whole video, Cassie probably said, "Wait a minute, this is perfect time to attack Diddy. Diddy's in a situation where they're accusing him of murder, actually." And then it switched to this whole beating thing. I'm telling you, I remember that how it switched. They were first talking about P Diddy, even the family, Tupac's family was like saying, "We got to look into this. Is it true?" and shit like that. Then this whole video came. No more talking about Diddy involved with the Tupac or anything.
It's crazy, bro. Vlad TV kind of helped solve Tupac's murder. Like, that's a pretty. They're like, you can never call him a culture vulture anymore. He solved hip hop's biggest crime. Like,
Prison, but his case hasn't fully gone through yet. Why? Why is it taking so long? But you could do
EPD thought that like it was past the. He thought that he was past the time where they could charge him for whatever, right? So that's why he wrote that book, and that's why he was on there talking that way because he thought he could say all this and then it's too late, right? But like statute of limitations, right? But then he found out after, like, no, like they could still charge him.
he puts Puffy in there. He
Yeah,
puts him in there.
the feds, they're like they want him on this here, but now that he got away with this Fed charge, bro, like they're gonna be on him even more. They're gonna
Know you have like, oh, you got away. It's like Bat superhero. Oh, and the villain got away. How much times the villain gets away? They're gonna fight you in a big battle, but he got away, so they're thinking, oh, they shamed him. I mean, he shamed them. You don't shame the FBI. Don't tell me they're not angry. They don't feel like an idiots.
above where it's like, are you guys like I can imagine like even higher up people being like, are you guys fucking serious, bro? Like, did you really spend all this money and you didn't get him? Are you like people are getting fired and shit, bro? Like people are, this is like a big loss for them. Like you think about how much money went into it.
Even 5 years, that's still a loss to them. He didn't spend no big punishment. The people in jail gave him applause when he came back. So he's not getting threatened in jail. He's protected. He's comfortable
But I'm not surprised they didn't.
in prison. They gave him applause. Did you hear that? When he went back to jail after the thing, they gave him applause. So it's reverse psychology. This female who tried to ruin this man, like Tory Lanez. It's this female who got Tory Lanez in a prison. It's the female who got Puffy led to prison. So now this is the reverse psychology. These guys who are locked feel sympathize with them.
Most of the guys that are in there, like the chances of being a Fed case, even if like there's a lot of guys in jail who are innocent too, right? Who's like where they don't have a chance to beat a Fed case because they don't have like the chances they got a 98 or a 99% success rate. So Diddy beating a Fed case is like that's a win for a lot of.
And Diddy feds for years. Like they're saying he worked for the feds. Maybe it's possible. That's why he's not going to get charged for that. But oh, he'll get charged for this little prostitution stuff.
They get him. They got him on a few things though, but
You know who it is? You know what? It's going to come up. It's in the media. He got charged with Cassie, which we know, and 50 Cent's baby mother. So he's charged with having trafficking or whatever 50 Cent's baby mother. And he's charged with doing this, something similar to Cassie, his girlfriend.
Puffy, eh?
That's the real one of the reasons. That's one of the reasons.
Those have I watched on YouTube over the years. Like the real reason why 50 and Diddy are into it. Like just goes to show you don't nobody really knows. Because it was only until this happened where you really see a way bigger side of it.
Same for Puffy. If he has beef with somebody, he goes after their ex. That's what he done with Tupac. They're saying he went after Tupac's ex. So is it this thing when you get in the industry and you get to a certain level of money, that's the way you get back or a message you go for? And she, this girl's not with him anymore. Oh, she's available. I go to that girl. It,
I've had buddies call me up before and be like, "Hey man, do you mind if I date so and so?" Like people that was with years ago. I'm like, I don't give a fuck. Go ahead. Like she's my ex for a reason, bro. Go ahead. Like
what's next for you? What are you gonna? What content you planning? Anything exciting out there in the space right now?
collaboration with Ricky, to be honest with you. We're doing a the weekend and Drake breakdown. I'm gonna break down the music part. He's gonna break down some of the other stuff that happened between those teams because
I know a good amount to myself, which collides with beef with the whole belly type of
there's a bunch of yeah, there's a whole XO OVO like and then the Galway thing and like it's just like all tied in. So
right. I looked them up. Those guys are big in the music industry, like doing a lot of corporate type of stuff, managing artists you don't think they would have been managing. So they're a powerhouse themselves, as much as we like OVO. So it's just two giants in the same city, and they could have whatever relationship they have. We could just analyze it because I had an episode called "The War in the Six," and it was talking about breaking down that what you're saying already about Drake and The Weeknd, and in that it's just basically talking how the Weeknd side, it's his best friend. I forgot his name. Is one of his this black guy, and then he has the two. I'm just gonna be straight up two Palestinian guys, right? I can't say their name, right? With him,
and Cash XO and who's the other guy? Salim or whatever.
Drake, he has his guy, right? Chubbs, right? And him, and there's like, what's his name? 40, right? And he has some more. So you could see the teams right there who's pushing, but Drake already came out, right? So Weekend came out and no one expect Weekend to come out like that. No, even Drake never expect him to blow up like that. And now he's like as big as Drake. Like that's very he's when I look up charts, they say he's like the top this, the top this, the top this. His show
Yeah, The Weeknd is literally one of the biggest artists on the planet. Like he is a fucking superstar, just as big as Drake in a lot of ways.
is Drake. I'm gonna say is Drake hating on the Weekend for becoming that big?
Looking at Tory Lanez and Drake ignored him for as long as he could. Like Tory was always trying to get in with Drake and giving him shout outs and like wanting to work with him. And then Drake just kind of always ignored this guy until the point where he couldn't ignore him any longer. Like he was too big. Like I don't know if it's a thing where Drake got this thing where Toronto is mine. Like it's like you can't have Toronto. Like this is like I don't want I don't want any. I'm the big guy in Toronto. Like there can't be a weekend and this guy. Like I feel like there's a little bit of that for sure. Like you know what I mean?
We're gonna get something, yo. But yo, before we come off the spaceship, anything you want to say to the people, your handles, where they could connect with you, what's coming up?
Underscore dirt on everything. That's Twitch. That's IG. That's Twitter. That's YouTube. That's pretty much everything. And then yeah, my thing is I've had my shares of controversies in what's going on, and now at this point it's like my only plan is just to put out really great content, and I feel like everything else will. Good dope sells itself, right?
Because this is a gem I should have asked. What do you think about YouTube taking down what faceless pages or the AI stuff, the voice shit? I'm with you.
Because I think it's getting. I think if they don't do it now, it's really going to get out of hand. It's going to get out of hand, right? It's starting to get out of hand. I'm not going to say that I don't respect people if they don't show their face in general, but if your whole entire channel is AI, like you're not doing anything, you're not really a. I don't look at you as a creator, really.
It's like how we're talking and create. You could still create, but use your voice.
Like I mean, years ago to start a channel, you had to learn how to do it. You had to learn how to set up cameras. You had to learn how to set up mics. You had to learn about exposure and like how to edit. And like now it's a lot easier, but it's getting like when it gets to the point where people aren't doing anything, like it's all automated. It's not really creating anymore. Like you're just, you know, I'm against that. I'm against that. 'Cause I put in a lot of work, man, to do what I do, and it's just it's all me. No one but me. It's just everything, right? One of the wait, hold on, let me do a better one, let me do a better one. Shout out to Down to Earth, the go-to podcast in Toronto. If you don't know, now you know.